There is a moment in every life when the world seems to pause, not because the world has changed, but because you have. It happens quietly, so quietly that most people miss it. A shift, small as a breath, subtle as a shadow, yet powerful enough to rewrite the direction of an entire life. This is the story of that shift. It begins with a simple realization that life is not something happening to you, but something unfolding from you. For years, the days felt predictable. The same streets, the same routines, the same rhythm repeating itself like a forgotten song. But underneath that repetition, something was calling. A silent echo, a pull toward a deeper truth. At first, it was easy to ignore. Life can make noise when it wants to distract you. Responsibilities, expectations, opinions, fears. They form a cage without walls. You walk inside it freely, never noticing the bars that aren't even there. But one day, a crack appears. A single question breaks through the noise. Is this really all there is? And from that question, everything begins. You start observing, not the world outside, but the world within. Thoughts no longer feel random. Emotions no longer feel accidental. You begin to see the patterns, the invisible threads that silently guide every choice, every reaction, every fear, every dream. You realize something astonishing. Your life has always been shaped by what you chose to see and what you chose to ignore. This understanding changes you, not loudly, not suddenly, but deeply. You begin noticing the pauses between thoughts, the spaces between moments, the silence beneath the noise. You discover that clarity does not appear when life gets easier, but when the mind gets quieter. And in that quiet, you begin to understand. People are not trapped by circumstances. People are trapped by the stories they tell themselves about those circumstances. You start replaying moments from your past, not with regret, not with pride, but with curiosity. Every disappointment begins to look like a lesson. Every delay like a redirection. Every loss like a silent teacher. You notice how the smallest decisions led to the largest turning points. How one thought led to a habit, how one habit led to a belief, and how a belief shaped an entire chapter of life. You start seeing that nothing was random. Everything was part of a design you couldn't understand back then. And with that realization, something inside you shifts again. You begin to question time itself. People think time moves forward, but time is not a straight line. It is a mirror. It reflects your inner world more accurately than any clock ever could. When your mind is chaotic, time feels fast. When your mind is heavy, time feels slow. When your mind is present, time feels infinite. And suddenly you understand. The real journey is not across years, but across states of consciousness. You start sensing a paradox. The more you release control, the more life aligns. The more you trust your inner direction, the less you need to force outcomes. Because life moves differently when you stop moving against yourself. Slowly, quietly, a deeper truth appears. You are never lost. You are simply becoming. You start noticing how people carry invisible weights. Fear disguised as anger. Loneliness disguised as confidence. Confusion disguised as certainty. Everyone walking around with unspoken stories, hoping someone will finally understand without them saying a word. and you realize just how few people actually look. Really look. Not at faces, not at actions, but at souls. The world is full of people searching outward for what has always lived inward. You understand now that awareness is not something you learn. It is something you remember. A truth your soul has always known, waiting for your mind to catch up. As your awareness deepens, the world begins to change. Not because the world is different, but because you are seeing differently. The same sunrise feels new. The same silence feels meaningful. The same challenges feel purposeful. You begin to see the beauty of being alive. Not in achievements, not in possessions, but in presence. Life stops being something you chase. It becomes something you experience. You understand that meaning is not found in distant futures, but in ordinary moments that you once passed by without noticing. A deep breath, a small realization, a sudden clarity, a wave of gratitude that appears for no reason at all. You start valuing what cannot be measured: your energy, your peace, your intuition, your alignment. And then comes the greatest realization of all. Your thoughts are not just reflections of your reality. They are the creators of it. Every belief opens a door. Every doubt closes one. Every fear builds a wall. Every moment of clarity removes it. You begin to understand that the mind is not a cage. It is a compass. And the direction it points is the direction your life follows. Slowly, the past loses its weight. The future loses its pressure. Only the present remains. The only place where anything ever truly happens. You see that life is not waiting for you. It is responding to you. Not to your words, not to your plans, but to your state of being. And so you begin living differently. Not faster, not slower, but deeper. You choose thoughts that lift you. You step away from energies that drain you. You move toward experiences that expand you. You follow the quiet pull of something larger than logic. Intuition, instinct, inner knowing. And suddenly, the path ahead becomes clear. Not because you can see the whole road, but because you trust the next step. You realize that the real wisdom is not in predicting the future, but in understanding the present so clearly that the future becomes a natural continuation of who you already are. And then comes the final understanding, the one that ties everything together. You are not here to reach a destination. You are here to become the kind of person who no longer needs one. Because life is not a race. It is not a ladder. It is not a test. Life is a remembering. Remembering who you are beneath the noise. Remembering what you feel beneath the fears. Remembering what matters beneath the expectations. And once you remember, you cannot go back. The shift is permanent. The awareness is irreversible. The journey becomes endless. Not exhausting, but expanding. And so, the story continues. Not in the world outside, but in the universe within you. The one that grows every time you take a breath. And realize that life is not something you live. It is something you become.